You know, when we think about climate change, we usually picture the big stuff, right? Glaciers melting, huge wildfires, cities underwater. But what if I told you one of the biggest impacts isn't happening to the planet, but inside our own heads? In this explainer, we're going to dig into that hidden connection, the one between a warming world and our own mental well-being.
So the big question is climate change actually messing with our minds? Well, the science is coming in loud and clear, and it's screaming, yes. This isn't just about what's happening out there in the environment, it's about what's happening in here. And honestly, we're just beginning to understand how deep this connection really goes.
Okay, so how do you even begin to wrap your head around a problem this massive? Well, luckily, researchers have given us a pretty helpful way to think about it. They've broken it down for us into three main pathways, which is like a roadmap for understanding exactly how climate change gets inside our heads.
So, first up, you've got the direct hits. We're talking about the immediate, in-your-face impacts from things like climate disasters. Then there are the indirect effects, kind of like ripples in a pond that spread through our society. And finally, and this one's so important, there's the intersectional burden. This is all about how things like who you are and where you live can make you so much more vulnerable.
All right, let's start with those direct impacts. This is when climate change literally kicks down your front door. It's the flood, the fire, the unbearable heat wave. It's personal, it's sudden, and frankly, it's terrifying.
Now this number, plus 0.9%, might look small, but trust me, it is a bombshell. For every single degree Celsius the planet warms, we see almost a 1% jump in mental health-related crises. Think about that for a second. On a global scale, that means more emergency room visits, more despair, and even more lives lost. It's a mental health epidemic in the making.
And it goes way beyond just the heat. I mean, can you imagine losing everything you own in a flood? Or watching your entire community get devastated by a drought? The scars from these disasters aren't just physical. They are deeply, deeply psychological. We're talking about a wave of PTSD, depression, and anxiety that can stick around for years.
And you know what? You don't even have to be in the eye of the storm to feel the storm inside. That feeling of dread, that pit in your stomach when you read the headlines about the planet, that has a name. It's eco-anxiety. And the most important thing to know is that it's not a disorder. It is a completely rational and natural response to a very real threat. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're paying attention.
But the story doesn't end when the storm passes. In fact, a lot of the time, that's just the beginning. The second way climate change impacts our mental health is through all those ripple effects, the slow-motion disasters that can be just as devastating as any hurricane. Just look at this domino effect. It all starts with something like sea level rise, or a farm that can't grow food anymore. That forces people to make an impossible choice: leave everything you've ever known, or stay and risk everything. But leaving isn't the end of the story. That journey is just filled with new stressors. And for so many, the final domino to fall is a mental health crisis.
So what does that kind of stress actually look like? Well, it's the constant uncertainty of living in a temporary camp. It's trying to start over in a new community where you feel like an outsider, sometimes facing discrimination. It's that daily battle to find work, a home, just a sense of belonging. And when that weight becomes too much to bear, it's really no surprise that some people turn to anything they can to cope. And now for the real gut punch. The mental health crisis of climate change. It's not an equal opportunity disaster, not even close. It's like a predator that specifically targets the vulnerable, the marginalized, and the people who are already struggling. This is that intersectional burden we talked about, and it's where this story gets really, really ugly.
I mean, let's be real here. If you have money, you can probably afford to move away from a flood zone. You can crank up the AC during a heat wave. You can get a therapist when the stress gets to be too much. But if you're poor, you're often trapped. You're breathing the polluted air, you're suffering through the heat, and you're often left totally alone with your anxiety. It is the brutal, unfair reality of climate injustice.
And it isn't just about money either. It's about age. We are literally handing younger generations a warming planet, a world full of problems, and basically saying, here, you fix it. Can you even imagine the weight of that responsibility? The anxiety, the anger, the feeling of betrayal? This is the mental health crisis of an entire generation, and we're the ones who caused it.
Okay, that was all pretty heavy. But here is the good news. It is not too late. We are not powerless. We have the knowledge, we have the tools, and we have the ability to change course. So let's talk about the path forward. Let's talk about how we can start to heal both our planet and our minds together.
This is our global call to action. We have to demand that our leaders treat mental health care as a critical part of climate action. It's not an afterthought. We need to build communities that are resilient, not just physically against storms, but emotionally too. And we absolutely have to come together as one global community to face this challenge head-on.
So I'll leave you with the one question that I think is going to define our future. As our world continues to transform, how are we going to transform ourselves? Are we going to give in to despair? Or are we going to find the courage and the creativity to build a better world for our planet and for our own peace of mind? The choice really is ours, and the time to choose is right now.